Browns 0-8 at home. Just sad.
I haven't heard you this down since Dr. Brown got fired. It's a game that we were in, and it's a game that we just don't finish.
I don't want to watch anymore.
Why? Why does that happen? I'm so sick of watching those plays.
Oh, and fucking 16.
I definitely do not want to watch it all 22.
That's up and down to me. That looks like dysfunction. And we're back again. Unbelievable. Another show already. I can't believe it. I'm so excited. Episode 4 of Season 3. We are back after a couple days. Amazing. I'm Adam. Greg's here.
Hard Knocks, baby.
Hard Knocks.
You watched last night?
I did watch last night. Hilarious.
Yeah.
A few things embarrassing. A few things to talk about. A few things that make the Browns look bad, and maybe a couple things that are going to make Browns fans happy.
Yeah, well, I think we got a glimpse of the human side of our team for the first time. You don't get that. You don't get to get inside and see. And Hugh brought that up early. I think right at the beginning of the thing, they took down the LeBron banner there in Cleveland, and then Hugh was talking. Hey, I don't want to go 0-16. I'm human. People, maybe people don't recognize that all the time. They don't really look at me that way. We look at them as, just the football coach. And the players are, bigger than just human. We treat them differently, like they don't have feelings. But then you see the stuff Hugh was dealing with, the loss of his brother, loss of his mother within like a 9-day stretch, and even the most rabid Hugh hater can't. Has to have sympathy and just feel awful for that situation. I mean, the guy's just going through an unbelievable time.
And still I know showing I felt up for work. There. Yeah.
Yep, I know I felt it. I definitely felt horrible for him. So, that's I just couldn't imagine that myself. And it seemed like the offensive coaches found out. They weren't very loving. Did you know?
What an awkward scene. Of them kind of like looking at each other. And
I know, because you think like if you're in that position, I would probably be like, I just don't want to talk about it. It's the last thing I do. So then you want to respect somebody's privacy, because they're going through a tough time. But man, to like, okay, we're just not gonna really address it here with the offensive staff that when they're sitting there.
Mm-hmm.
And I lost my mother, lost my brother. So is this zone read here, guys? Get back to business. But
in some cases, it's better just to go straight back to work. I
understand. Oh yeah.
Get on with life and like, all right, I'll dig through this in my own time. I don't want to talk about it to you guys.
Exactly.
You're working with me, so I don't need your sympathies. This happened.
You appreciate it, right? You appreciate it, but you're just like, oh man, it's like I really just am trying to not focus on that. I'll focus on that when the time comes and I get free time, because we're 0-16 and this is my passion, so I still got this to worry about as well. Life hits you hard sometimes. So Dorsey coming in, being the old lovable, huggable bear. Dorsey comes in, asks for a group hug there, which is
dude. Are they like the most awkward pair? They are so awkward together.
I think Dorsey just. Yeah, I think he even said, "Big boy, let it out, big boy." The way.
Or he's just maybe he's just awkward.
I just think that's his way. He's just kind of a old jock, and he's just. What are you gonna do? Everybody's different, so.
Yeah. He's got his long sleeve shirt on, his sweatshirt, and a pair of like shorts on that he wears every day, like the same outfit. Apparently, he's from this.
Efficient, man. You don't have to think about it.
It's efficiency. It's a success. It's one of these, self-help things where you take out extraneous decisions during your day so that you can make big decisions.
Is that what he said?
I think I read that somewhere. He's part of this. Yeah. That's part of like how he gets his success. It's just, I wear this every day. It's one thing I don't have to make a decision on, and I can spend my time on other decisions.
One more thing you don't have to stress about.
It's just a shirt and shorts, though. I don't know if it's a big decision.
Yeah, good enough. Good enough.
I love that sweatshirt.
Yeah,
though.
So it started out, Hugh got baptized, got the sins washed away at the beginning when he jumped in the lake.
Yeah, thankfully that's over.
Yep, we don't have. They acted like they might not even cover it, but then I think it came out later that they were going to cover it, and so they got that in, washed away the sins of the organization, hopefully, and then you have more Hugh and John Dorsey when they're sitting in there. They're talking with the senior vice president of communications. I wrote this down so I remember. Peter John Baptiste. He's going through, okay, what are we going to say about the Josh Gordon situation? All right. Josh Gordon's coming up, guys. He's not going to be here. We got to go out there. And let me tell you, I don't know if there's a guy has a harder job in the whole building than Peter John Baptiste trying to get Hugh and John Dorsey to stay on topic and just give them what you need to and nothing more. That's it, guys. Hey, we're going to respect his privacy, and that's it.
That strategy meeting was pretty hilarious to see him like walking through. We forget that happens. We forget that there's a coach there that goes, all right, this is how we're going to talk about it. This is how you frame it. Like, and they still can't really do it that well.
It's easy to forget that they have somebody there because you watch the press conferences and you go, Jesus Christ, is anybody working with these guys? So really, I don't know if they should fire Peter John Baptiste or if they should promote him to the press secretary here and actually do all the communications, because good Lord. So you had that, and then I guess what I skipped there was right before that, Hugh is talking to the offensive coaches and he lets them know, hey, Josh Gordon is not going to be with us at the beginning of camp. He's going to be back, but he's not going to be with us at the start. And Haley goes, well, what's he got? Meaning, what's his injury? And he was working through some personal issues, this and that, So, so there, that sort of began probably what, that sort of foreshadowed Haley getting into what happens later in the show, where Haley is asking Hugh about the. We'll get to it, but there, Haley's already gone, Jesus, we're missing Josh Gordon. Oh my God, what the hell's going on here? This is how this is going to go down, and expecting an injury and it just being something that they can't even talk about.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't too at the beginning because you're talking about the players, the coaches even being human when the rookies were at the airport landing.
Yeah.
And people are like, people are so funny when you're like, oh, I think that's a pro athlete, but I don't want to say anything because that's douchey. He's like, oh, you play ball? Yeah. What position? Running back. Where'd you play? It's like, dude, the dude just trying to get his bag, for Christ's sake. We used to get a lot of that in Vegas. People would be like, you'd see these dudes, they're like 7 feet tall, and then these people would like walk by, and they don't know who the guy is, but they're looking, and then they'd wait, and then like we'd go on break, and they'd be like, "Hey, who is that?" And I'd always just say this: he's a basketball player. I don't know who he is. It's like fucking Elton Brand, or like really famous dudes that just non-NBA fans don't know. I'd always say,
but if you
don't even know where he plays.
How do you even care, anyways? That's the thing. Like
they're just happy to see you.
I'm just saying, like, why would you, like, a fan, if you're just like, why would you care? Like, if you go, hey, you see Baker Mayfield, you'd be like, fuck, there's Baker Mayfield. Like, that would be, you would recognize him. But why would you go and be like, who are you? What team do you play for? Like,
I know.
What the fuck kind of question is that? Like, dude, get the fuck out of here.
I remember.
I was surprised when Chubb said, "Oh, I play for the Browns." Like, it would have been funny had the guy, or had they got the guy going like, "Ooh, sorry to hear about it," or something like that.
Yeah. I remember the one guy asking me, it was Adrian Peterson. And I was like, yeah, I don't know. I think he's some kid that plays for the Vikings or whatever. It's fucking Adrian Peterson, dude.
Yeah.
He's like a superstar.
If you don't know who he is, don't worry about it. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, you really don't care that much anyway. So, please.
So it's just so funny. People don't know. I guess it does. Like, we don't see him as human. People don't know how to act around him. People don't know what to say. And then everybody's like goofy, like, oh, let's get a selfie. Can I get a selfie with you, Baker? And he's like, God damn it. What do you want a selfie for? You're an adult.
So, how about this? Baker Mayfield didn't know Bob Evans is a chain. What the fuck? What the fuck? Where the hell is Norman, Oklahoma? Is there literally nothing in Norman, Oklahoma where Oklahoma plays?
Yeah,
Oh
I thought
man,
that was
where's
weird.
Baker from? That is hilarious. That was hilarious to me. And then, okay, so now was this Baker chumming it up or like being fake for the camera, or do you think Baker is this is just the way he is on a daily basis? When he comes in, he goes and he's got two beds to pick from. He goes, which one would Nick Chubb want to sleep in? Right?
Yeah. We should preface all this shit with, as soon as you stick a bunch of cameras in front of these people, everyone is going to change their behavior whether or not they know it.
Yeah.
Or
yeah, but
it's impossible not to.
Well, when you have a giant camera like walking around behind you at an airport, yes, but that's one thing. I think though, when you're at the facility, like you really don't notice them. And if you're out there playing, dude, you're not really playing it up for the camera. When you're in your meetings and shit, you're not playing it up for the camera. Like they probably don't even. They just forget that they're probably even in there. You know?
Yeah, I don't know. I think even
seriously, why wouldn't you? You got to think about this. You're in that building 12 hours a day. You ain't thinking about the goddamn camera being on you all day. And those things are hidden up in the corners of the rooms and stuff. It's not like they don't have cameramen standing next to them in meetings and shit.
That almost makes it more so. You're more self-aware of the cameras when you're like, yeah, there's a bunch of hidden cameras around here.
Oh well, you worked in Vegas. There's hidden cameras everywhere. How often do you think about it?
you do get used to it, but if you knew you were being recorded all the time, you
right.
It's different. It's different if we're just talking on the phone or if you say, all right, let's record this. We're aware. I'm aware that we're being recorded right now. I mean,
right.
I think you're human. It's just a fault of all reality shows. Is one, it's going to be, you know, you're being recorded, and two, it's all about the edit.
Right.
How they edit it twists everything a little bit. So we can keep going into the next few scenes, but I think
I don't even know what I didn't write down the scenes or anything, but let's just get into that. Okay. So Landry's speech. So let me preface it first with saying, all right, all that stuff at the beginning where I was saying months ago when they picked up Landry, I go, this is terrible move for the money, right? He's not worth that amount of money. Well, this is the side we don't get to see. And then when you do see this, and we've talked about this for 2 years, who the hell is our leader on offense? Landry is the leader. I mean, especially in that wide receiver room. Landry's a leader for the whole offense as well as Tyrod. You know, those are the leaders. But Landry is setting the tone in the wide receiver room. We need more guys like that at every position group on this team. And so they spend that money on him. They spend that money on him. I'm basing everything that I'm talking about on the field, which he's been really good on the field. 100 catches 4 years in a row. So I'm not saying that, but he's not on the same level as like a Josh Gordon. He's not on the same level as a Julio Jones when it comes to like actually being a wide receiver and catching the ball, that kind of stuff. But when he shows off this his leadership here, that easily puts him over the price mark that we're paid for him. So I'll take the L of saying Landry was not as smart at the time, because I'm going to backtrack and I am saying 100% this is huge because of that kind of speech right there. This is exactly what we've needed, somebody to stand up and say, look, we need to start taking the bull by the horns. We have to be the ones that are, we're creating our own destiny, not somebody else. We're not letting somebody else write the story. We're writing the story. So that I absolutely loved. But the cameras are on him. So what do you think? Is this Landry bumping up his stock, what do you call it? Yeah. Or is he trying to sell some Landry shirts here, or is this legit Landry?
If he wasn't known sort of as a vocal leader, you might think it's a little bit fake. He might have cranked it up for the cameras, but I'm assuming that's not the first time that he's had to let the crew know, like, hey, we're going in the wrong direction here, and let's turn this around. And who was he really, really, really focused on? Like, he started the beginning of the speech kind of comfortably looking around at everybody, but by the end of the speech, he was honed in on, was that Coleman or not?
No, I couldn't even tell which one Coleman was, to be honest, and I don't think that's what that. I think what probably had happened before that. This is pure speculation. Is they came in, they said, "All right, these are the guys that are going to take off," because you see how it works when Hugh's in the meeting with the whole staff. There's a guy there. His name was Joe something that comes in and reads off the list of players that are hurt and the ones that are getting like days off, right?
Yeah.
So then with that, I imagine they got their hey, these guys can take the day off or whatever, and then Landry's like, okay, what? I'm not taking a day off. I'm not taking. That's kind of how it started.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
I'm not. I don't know that for sure. That's what it would make more sense. I don't think they were like. I don't think it's like Corey Coleman's like, well, I'm taking a day off, and Landry's like, well, you ain't fucking taking no day. Could you imagine? I mean, that would just be a fist fight if that's really the way it went down. And so I don't know. I mean, it just doesn't make sense that he would be putting that on one guy. I imagine that it's more as a group of wide receivers there.
Yeah, that was an intense little moment there.
Yep. So he's the obvious leader. He showed off his leadership skills. I think Tyrod shows off his leadership skills by being there early as hell. He's getting there before the sun's up.
Yeah, Hugh even made a comment to Baker about
good.
Yeah,
I like that. And Baker's like, oh well, tired. He had his little excuse or whatever. But hey, good job, Hugh. That's what you do. You poke and prod these guys. Make sure you want to be the best there is, and the best wake up early every single morning, and the last one to leave. So I'm glad Hugh said that, and that gives Baker something to think about.
Mm-hmm.
But those are obvious leaders on offense.
Yeah, Baker. They didn't really show a lot of him throughout the show. I mean, he wasn't like a focal point of the show by any means.
Yeah, a little bit here, with the RV thing and whatnot. And I think he's going to get a good amount of run here on this. And then he sang,
"Take Me Home, Country Road."
Yeah. What's his name? Denver. What the hell is that guy's name? Sings that song.
John Denver.
Yeah, John Denver. But and nobody knew it, of course. As soon as you started singing that, I go, nobody's going to know this. You kidding me? Like a couple of the offensive linemen, that's it. Zeitler, he'll be into it. Maybe J.C. Treader. Anyway, so that's your offensive leaders there. Defensively, Kirksey was showing some leadership ability. But I got to say, he doesn't sell it the way that Landry does. What did you think about that? Are we going to find out some different defensive leaders? Because when I looked at it, hey, I like Kirksey's effort, but I'm not feeling it as much as I'm feeling Landry.
Yeah, I don't remember them really showcasing too much anybody on defense yet. I'm sure as we go in the series, they'll be digging in.
What are you talking about? Kirksey gave a speech. Kirksey was playing
with the drums. Yeah, but he didn't. I'm trying to look for another example of somebody else.
Slightly Miles talking to Willie McGinnis.
Oh yeah, that was pretty cool. McGinnis, like, you working on your moves?
McGinnis still looks like a bad motherfucker, doesn't he? Like,
oh yeah, for sure,
dude. He could be like in the WWF with The Rock or something. Like I mean, that guy's jacked up. I don't even know if The Rock's in WWF. That's a terrible comment, but that's what he's yoked, man. Yeah, every bit is the size of Miles. Miles is a freaking specimen. But yeah, there's not much Miles there.
Yeah, not a lot. I guess we'll see going forward.
Yeah, so you have that, right? So that's a question that hasn't been answered for me, is what is Kirksey attempting to be that leader? I'm sure Greg Williams has challenged him to be that leader, but who else is going to step up? Somebody's got to step up in that room.
I'm hoping Peppers is one of them. We know Collins is not sort of a natural leader. You can kind of tell he's way laid back, but I think we'll see more of Peppers moving forward. Remember, he wasn't practicing for the first few days or a week.
Yeah, but Peppers is in year 2, okay? He's in only year 2, and he's fighting for a job. That doesn't really open you up like to go be a leader. Like, usually your leader is a guy who has already proved that he's got a spot here, that he's going to be a guy going forward for some time. Kirksey might even be on the bubble a little bit when it comes to them talking about trading one of these guys. I imagine it would be Jamie Collins, but
we didn't see much of Kendricks either, did we? In the episode?
No. They showed his face like once. Almost no Denzel Ward. almost no Chad Thomas, who's a big music guy. I imagine they're going to do a whole thing on him. And no, you don't. The number one Browns player out there, Duke Johnson, get his ass on camera. I need more Duke. God damn it.
Yeah. Let's talk about this coaches meeting with Haley, because this was an awkward meeting. Hugh did not do himself any favors. Again, yep, you're on camera. We all know we're on camera. We're probably saying shit that maybe we usually wouldn't say. All the coaches with their heads like resting on their hands, their arms folded. Coaches did not look pleased as a group. And Haley looked extremely unhappy. What was his line? Let's not live in our fears. What's this breakdown to?
Well, for one, the whole room looks weak as fuck, minus Greg Williams and Todd Haley. Oh, Adam Henry looks like he's got some, like he's got some good mojo. He's working with some, but our coaches just look like a sad group. I got to be honest. I'm looking at them going, dude, these guys, there's nothing about them that inspires me at all, besides a few of them. Like Haley, he's got something there, He's an asshole in a good way. Greg Williams, whether you like him or not, he's an asshole in his own way, and it gets people motivated. I don't think that was awkward at all. I think that's the kind of things that I would expect at that meeting. I would want the guys that are coaching with me to go, hey, this is like, all right, let's hear. What does everybody have? I want to hear what you have, and then we'll talk about it. You kind of shut it down quick. I totally get with Haley's point. Hey, we can't be having all these days off, but at the same time, like what happens right now, the best teams, the best teams are playing good in the middle of the season. They're not all worn out. We're not going to wear our guys out right now. We got 4 weeks of training camp with a lot of these veterans. So if you can keep them fresh, obviously you're going to try to. So
I get it's
a real balancing act.
I get it, but Haley's saying, look, we got a lot of work to do still. We got fucking games starting in a month. Nobody knows what they're doing. Right. Haley's obviously got his eye on his offense, and he's not seeing it working out correctly. Dude, you better take that serious. If that means Duke has to get out there and work, you don't want him to get hurt. What good does it do if nobody gets hurt and we're not prepared for the season?
Well, that's exactly what I'm saying. There's a balancing act. So if he says that and you're the head coach, your thinking is, okay, well, how can I work it out so we can make sure we still have some rest? Maybe we don't need as much rest. You have to take. I mean, look, I don't think there's a definite answer there. You're working with people's bodies that you're just trying to keep them as healthy as you can right now. You want to make it to where games matter, with them knowing the knowledge and with them having the health.
But the worst answer to say is, well, I'm sitting in this chair. Greg, I can mute you. Okay, I'll turn off your mic right now, all right? Because I'm sitting in this chair. When you're sitting in this chair, you can do what you want.
Yep, that is a bad answer, in my opinion. I agree. I agree with you. That's not the way I would handle it. I like the way Haley came back and said, hey, I'm not going to leave that on a negative, though. He put that thing out there he wasn't happy about and then talked about the positives to try to bring up the room and some. I think that's always a good strategy to do. Never leave it where we're pissed off about something. So, but like I agree with you. That isn't the best way for you to. Yeah, that's silly. Right. That's silly. You try to work with it. Like, all right, well, let's see what we can do. All right, we'll take a look at it. We'll look at it a little bit closer.
It was just a off-putting comment, I guess. And again, the show's edited. So Hugh might have given a whole bunch of shit in front of that would have been inspirational, besides flipping the table over and just saying this discussion's over, as it's shown on a 1-hour program,
The Browns have the right to veto anything, that goes into this. They can say you can't show that.
Oh, really?
Anything. Yep. Browns have 100% editing power on this thing.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Yep. But they come out before that. Supposedly, they almost told them nothing. Don't worry. Don't edit hardly anything.
We've got no notes. That's what everybody wants. Yeah. Don't give. Just let us do it.
Yeah. So that was interesting. That's something we're going to look at forward. And of course, that I knew people are going to jump on that as well. They should have, but that's
It
people
just
are
didn't leave
going,
me with a lot of
"Hey,
confidence.
I like Todd Haley a lot more because I want these guys to work harder, right?
Yeah.
I understand that. Also, we don't know how much work they're putting in all the time out there. We see them at practice when you can go. You don't see them behind the scenes, how much more work they're doing and whatnot. So lifting weights and all that other whatnot.
How about Landry's comment to, I don't remember who he was talking to. The crowd was getting a little fired up, and then Landry said, "This ain't never happened in Miami." And he pointed out the crowd. He said, "Miami, that's about half full for practice." So that was pretty cool. Browns fans are showing up.
Well, that's the one me and everyone went to, and they were cheering like that the whole time. That's not the way all the practices go. That was like the first practice of the year, I believe.
But still, the practices are full, right?
Yeah, for the most part. They're always full on the weekend. Just during the weekdays is when they sometimes. I mean, I've only been to 3, and it had rained. It rained a couple times. Like I was gonna go yesterday, but it said 50% chance of thunderstorms. I want to drive an hour over there, and then it ends up raining. So that's the problem. I bet it wasn't full then because people are probably thinking the same thing.
Well, they'll go inside if it rains, and there's no public inside, right?
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
Exactly why you don't drive up there. But yeah, I mean, they were going pretty crazy, and it's funny because me and Evie were standing right next to them, but we didn't make it on the show there where they were chanting.
Evie would have loved it. You could tell her she's on TV. Yeah, damn it.
Yeah. Oh, she would thought she's the most famous 5-year-old in the world. What about Carl Nassib and giving out? I'm pretty sure he said that if you put your money in the bank, you get 10% interest back. I don't know where Carl's getting that from, but because you get like almost nothing back in interest from your bank.
Well, maybe Carl's got a good financial advisor that's putting the money to work.
No, he was telling people, do not use a financial advisor. They will take 1%. You keep your 1% and just put the money in the bank.
Yeah.
That was what his whole message was.
Don't they have, doesn't the league provide like professional dudes to come in and talk to the team about spending?
Yeah, and the league also has provided professional dudes that have stolen money from the players as well. So
wow,
they give them like this guy's NFL certified or whatever, and they've had people rip off players before. So,
but I mean, not always what I'm saying is, maybe it's only for the rookies. I know during that like rookie symposium when they go in there, there's like dudes that just talk about like, all right, you're going to be making a lot of money now, and they work through some of like financial stuff. They talk about social media. They're like, this is.
But how much are you really getting at that?
Well, how much are you really getting from Carl Nassib?
Dude, if he's up there preaching and you think that all you have to do is put the money in your bank, I'd be listening. If he's at that, he was acting like he was definitely positive. If you put the money in the bank, you're getting 10% on that dollar. Like, what are you talking about, dude?
Yeah. Well, if they go,
it could have been highly edited as well.
True.
Maybe that's not even what he was saying.
Nassib did say if you spend like 7 minutes a day on Instagram, you spend
2 hours a day. He said you would be spending a month out of the year.
Well, if the Browns go 0-16, I'm not going to spend another month out of next year to do this fucking podcast because we're doing 2 hours a day. This goddamn.
They're not
podcast.
going 0. They're not going 0-16. I'll tell you that.
What's the difference between Instagram and being on Twitter all day? Jesus.
Yeah, exactly.
It was funny though. It was a cool segment of Nassib up there with some interesting math.
Yeah. That was one of the better ones. And just dropping F-bomb after F-bomb too. No fucks given. No David Njoku either. Really, I'm sure they'll get to him. So there's a lot of storylines here that I imagine they're going to get. It looked like the preview to next week's clip. The clip was Corey Coleman in Hugh Jackson's offense, which he didn't look happy. So that'll be interesting stuff. Can't wait for that one, to be honest.
Yeah. What's they're every Tuesday? Is that how it goes?
Yep.
How many episodes?
I think there's only like maybe 6.
It's just through training camp, and then they split.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do they cover like because the team's traveling now to New York? Did they go? They're on the plane. They're at the game tomorrow.
Yeah. You've never watched Hard Knocks before?
I don't think so.
Oh, yeah, that's exactly what they do. They follow you the whole time.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yep.
So that'll be
You get all
interesting.
that. I wonder, are they going to cover the Antonio Callaway arrest, and should we cover the Antonio Callaway arrest? Not arrest, anyways. Let me take it back.
Citation. Yeah.
Right.
Was there anything else in the show before we moved to Antonio Callaway?
Oh, yeah. Other than that, Greg Williams, the best line of the night, when the dude said, "You need a lozenge," he said, "No shit, I got one."
I got a lozenge, bitch.
Bitch. He called him a bitch, dude. One of these days, one of these dudes that are like 275 pounds are gonna fucking pick him up and drop him on his head.
Yeah.
You're calling grown men a bitch, and then expecting that nothing's ever gonna happen to you. Good luck with that, sir.
Well, as good or bad as a defensive coordinator Greg Williams is, he pretty much has been universally liked by his players and somewhat of a mentor to his players. He might not call the best defenses or whatever. I mean, that one's up for debate, but his team does seem to appreciate his efforts.
You know, he brings discipline, right? So
discipline equals freedom.
Right. Well, right, Jocko. But that's probably a good thing for such a young team building that kind of discipline. But once you get on this level, like if you just can't do it by yourself, then that's troubling.
Yeah,
you shouldn't need people to really push you anymore by this time. But some of them are, when you're young, I guess 2021, definitely you can use that extra motivation. Overall, I thought it was a good episode, though. I thought it was a good time. I mean, it wasn't like super exciting, but just watching the Browns and getting that inside stuff. I mean, this is sort of what we love as super fans.
Yeah, I was just happy to see some football again. I got a little excited just watching when they were showing the clips from last year and stuff, and I was like, oh yeah, we're starting football tomorrow. Shit, this is great.
Yep,
gonna be awesome. Antonio Callaway, interesting arrest. The video came out, pulled over. The cop said he smelled weed, which is apparently just I can search your car now. Who can prove that he didn't smell it? I mean, if the kid has a small amount in the car, can you smell that really that easy?
Oh, hell yeah.
Come on,
dude, it's so stinky anymore. Yeah. Oh, dude, if you have less than if you have one nug, people are smelling it from miles away. It's so skunky these days, this weed. And who knows what he's getting down there in Florida. I imagine they're probably getting some good shit. So he's bringing which that was his excuse. Did you see that? One of my buddies must have left it in the car.
Yeah. And the gun parts, I like that. Gun parts. There was a backstrap to a Glock. At least the cop didn't shoot him. He handled it somewhat calmly, but he did tell his partner he was nervous as fuck.
Oh, geez. Well, this is the problem that you have with Antonio Callaway. He brings this baggage, and I don't mean the baggage with the weed in it. I mean this is this is what he does. He consistently gets in trouble. And then we let Coleman go. This happens. He doesn't even seem to bother to go tell the team. And Hugh doesn't find out about it until like 1 minute before he steps to the podium to talk about it after practice yesterday. Or was that?
Yeah. Boy, see, that's a bad sign, man. Callaway has to be like, all right, I got to inform the team about this first.
Yes.
And get them involved. Right.
There's a couple things that just drive me nuts about this whole situation. One, he doesn't have a license, okay? Why doesn't the team, we already know this kid has problems getting in trouble. Why isn't the team doing everything they can do? Maybe it's suspended because of one of these things he got in trouble for, but make sure he's not driving. He almost needs a babysitter, a full-time babysitter. And if he is driving, do everything in your power that you can to get his license back. It's your business to know that Antonio Callaway doesn't have his license and can't be driving. Mm-hmm. It's your business to know that as the Browns. It's good for you that you know where he is at all times and what he's doing at all times, because the track record is there. He's proven that he's unreliable. You have to follow him around. So that was one of the things that I'm like, dude, how do they not know this about him? And then two, like when they were talking about Corey Coleman had to learn his diet from Landry. Who the fuck is the nutritionist in the Browns building, dude? Day one, you're a professional athlete comes in. They're not talking to him about diet immediately, about the right things to eat, the right way to train. You don't eat pizza every day and chicken wings and stuff like that.
I always assumed that these teams had nutrition that got blood work done for each of these guys. Like, all right, here's your workout, here's your daily routine. This is what we want you to eat. I'm always a little surprised that it's not with the investment that you're putting in to these players. I'm so surprised that everyone's not on their own personal diet.
100% you should be. Like when they were talking, they were with the quarterback, Robach, and he's like, oh, I went to get some snacks, and then they gave us all these healthy snacks. Look at the snacks. You got popcorn. You got dude, it's fine. I'm not saying these guys got to eat clean all the time, but you go to the nutritionist and you get some beef jerky and stuff. You can't get anything better than that for these guys. Is that what we're seriously feeding these guys?
Wait, they got beef jerky?
How do I have a better idea of the proper nutrition to eat rather than what's going on in this building? I mean, I have a better idea of how to eat than Corey Coleman, and he's got a nutritionist. It's absurd to me. Like, teach the guys how to properly take care of their body if you want them to be at the top of their game. Landry has the right idea. You got to take care of it. Like, you don't buy a Ferrari and then not take it into the shop and not get the oil changed. It's stupid, man. I mean, you got to be smarter than that with the Browns. And every single guy has to know what they can eat all the time. And they shouldn't even be off doing it on their own. They should be having somebody supply them with that stuff, like you said.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised. I guess some guys, I'm sure, have their own personal professional trainers, but I'm surprised the team's not more involved, from a conditioning and strength and conditioning coaches to nutrition coaches.
They do the strength and conditioning there.
I know they have that coach, but how much is he involved in nutrition and making daily workouts for these guys? None?
Well, I think they do make the daily workouts for the most part, to be honest. Not in the off season, but anytime that they're in that building, if they're in that building, they're working with them with their workouts, I imagine. And I'm sure the nutritionist talks to them probably, but the difference might be when they come talk to whoever the nutritionist. Like,
right. I mean, we're talking about 90 dudes in there, everybody with different needs.
Yeah. Oh, everybody does have different needs. If you're a lineman, you got to be eating tons of calories to keep your weight up. You know, I mean, if you're a wide receiver, you're still going to be eating a good amount of calories because you're going to be working out all the time. You're going to be running all the time. But at the same time, you don't want to have any extra fat at all. You want to be as lean as possible. You know, lean muscle. It's crazy to me that's even a thing that was mentioned. Like, he doesn't know how to eat properly. And the same thing, like, dude, make sure all your players' license situation is up to date. I mean, what the hell are we doing here? And it could have been, like I said, a court ordered thing, but come on, man.
Uber.
Make sure he's not freaking driving then. How the hell is he getting to work every day?
Yeah, Uber, Lyft. The teams have cars, right? Like, the teams you can call for a team car and get scooped up wherever you're at.
Apparently not with this team, because from what it seems like. So anyways, but with the whole, let's get back to the Callaway thing. This is exactly what we predicted would happen with him. Yeah. And now we're short on wide receivers. You look at this wide receiver list after Callaway and without Coleman and no Josh Gordon, we're back where we were last year. You got Jarvis Landry, and Higgins is having a nice camp, but it's still Rashard Higgins. You're not throwing out T.O. here.
We thought Higgins was on the bubble to even make the goddamn team, and now he's going to have to play. You're assuming a suspension? Because I don't know if Callaway could catch a suspension from this or not.
I assume that he's going to get a game or two.
Yeah.
If this is the second one, he failed the first one. I see they cut back on the suspensions for marijuana. So I think I even read something that they said if he passes like the 90 days, he's without like passing all his the tests.
Stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, if that's even in effect anymore. Yeah. Stage 1 was 90 days to clear with a league treatment plan and all this bullshit.
Yeah, we'll have to see, man. But I wouldn't be surprised if he's suspended for a game or two, which I thought it was like a 2-game if you're in the second tier of it or whatever. But we'll have to look that up. I don't want to comment on it and then not know. But it doesn't matter. It's not even, and I see this. Well, it's just weed. Well, yeah, I know. It doesn't matter though, because he can't smoke weed and play in the NFL. So I don't care what it is, it doesn't matter. If it was like, if the league said you're not allowed to eat donuts and Antonio Callaway's out eating donuts, I'm going to go, dude, you can't fucking eat donuts. What are you doing?
Yeah, regardless of how stupid the rule is the rule, and the players have to stick with it. And we can talk about the rule on a different level, but the point is he can't have weed on him. He can't smoke weed. Just smoke weed at home. This is fucking simple.
Right? And get one of the vape ones, so nobody, the cops can't smell it on you, for Christ's sakes. And the other thing, Antonio Callaway, don't be a moron. Use your brain, man. Like, at some point in your life, you just have to go, all right, enough's enough. I'm costing myself money. I'm taking money out of my own pocket just to do stupid shit that doesn't better me anyways. Like, come on, man. It's enough of that. Same thing with Gordon. Like, it's time to step up and be an adult.
Callaway is 21, probably hasn't had a lot of adult tendencies up until now. Gordon's 28 or whatever, so...
Right, and that's why I say way more for Gordon than Callaway at this point. But the last thing you want Callaway to get to is where Gordon is.
Right, where we're in this circus. The history. Yeah.
Just the fact that we would take these guys without adding another wide receiver is really makes me just want to take my head and ram it right through the wall, because you had opportunity there. If you don't like Cortland Sutton or the guy that the Bears got, what's the Miller kid from Memphis, or
Miller, Gallup, you mentioned.
Could have had the Gallup kid instead of drafting Chad Thomas. I mean, there was plenty of guys to have there that were safe, and maybe they're not as talented. They're probably not. Antonio Callaway, I'm admitting right now, he's a super talented kid, but it doesn't matter how talented you are if you can't play on Sunday. That's the only thing that matters to the Browns. Can you play Sundays? If you can't, then what's the point of us drafting you? And John Dorsey going forward, he has a proven track record of not being smart and continuing to take these kind of guys, but he's got to learn from these mistakes. Don't rely on unreliable players.
Yeah, simple. Talking about like changing the Browns' trajectory and culture, and we're going to start winning, and we're going to start. All right. We've had an interesting week.
Game tomorrow, baby.
Game tomorrow. All right, let's wrap this up.
Let's do it.
Twitter @STS Podcasts. Patreon @STS Podcasts. Email survivingtheseason@gmail.com. A lot of shows coming out this week. Proud of you, Greg. We're doing it.
Proud of you. Proud of my kids for not busting down the door, screaming, throwing shit at me.
Tell Evie I said thank you.
I will.
#Road to Redemption.
That's right.
Thanks for hitting us up on the iTunes reviews and commenting on Twitter and having a running conversation with Greg and I. A lot of fun. We appreciate everybody. Greg, tell them what we say.
Keep on surviving.